All right. This is how the brush housings come from factory. The brush board, and it comes, as you can see, it's got two wires, normally on the symmetric system, and one fits negative and the other one fits positive. So they are in parallel. I mean, every 180 degrees. So we have to remove this, and the best way to do it, you can either get some needle nose pliers or this, and you just roll it. It's the easier way. They are welded by contact, but this is the best way of doing it, and it just comes off real easy. It's actually loose, but I want you to notice how this thing right here has play on the rivets it's got from factory. So that's not a good contact when it's riding on the brushes, and this doesn't make a good contact. So I have chosen the 440 screws by 3/8 length, 3/8 of an inch. And what I do is I squeeze them here. They fit perfect. I put a lock washer, and I get a knot in it, and I tighten them real good. Now, in some cases they will not tighten because the rivet needs to be pressed a little bit further. But this is how, more or less, so you guys have an idea. Sometimes you have to tap the rivet with two chisels, and this, we get a small screwdriver on the other side, hold it, and we can tighten it. And we'll see that now no more play. So I do it in all four. So you have an idea. I already removed this one, and the idea is that I made already some cables, red cables, so I can attach them positive to positive and black with black. So take them out of the motor, and then I can outside externally I can do these connections, and I have chosen these band connectors, which has to be steadily bolted on, but that way we can see on video how to join the connections there. We can set them parallel, we can set them series, we can set them all in series or by groups, and so on. So you guys have an idea what we have to do here. It's not a big deal. It's just a matter of connections on this. It comes real easy. It's just a factory weld. The idea of rolling it is that you don't have to cut the cable, and it comes out real clean. So you see how separates real easy, and we don't even have to worry about any leftover. Maybe grind it a little bit so we don't have residues there, but this is the idea. So this is it. We're gonna mount it and take it for a spin. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out in order to further checking is that where I had the mark on number 1, P1, I took it all the way to the shaft. I don't know if we can see it here. Let me zoom. I scraped the shaft. Then I put some red paint there so we can see it outside once the motor is on. The idea here is that we have a guiding mark as we rotate the shaft, put our meter to continuity, and we go one by one checking if they are doing contact and we don't have any open coils. This is a good check mark because we don't have to take the motor apart in order to run a diagnosis on it. One by one we go either way and we count, and we'll hear the beep, and I'll do that test later on. It'll tell us that all of them are connected, and if there is one faulty, we'll know which one it is exactly. So we could go exactly to that and see if the commutator got loose or something here. So, but we'll go next running it and assembling it, the housings. Alright, so we already got the armature in place, and we're gonna go ahead and put this housing on. We already have the brushes pushed back, and the spring is holding it, as you can see right here. So it won't let it go in, so it'll be easier. Then later on, all we have to do is just push them back in and make sure the spring goes on top of it. Okay, so but what I wanted to show you is that this in the housing, it has a little mark sticking out, and in the motor they also put a mark right here. See, the base is right here, so they put that mark right there. As also it has another one there that will match with the front cap. So, and I didn't do this, they come from factory like that. So maybe yours, the guys that are ordering the kit, don't have it because they might, but this one for sure it should have it. So also I wanted to say to go over before doing this with some kind of sandpaper to make sure your border is clean, and if you could add a little grease here, I mean heavy grease, a little bit, it'll be much better, because that way you could slide it better when you are aligning it. You got to realize that we have all this space to move the bolts above and on top to be able to rotate the housings and the armatures. So we're gonna put this in, and as you can see, it goes in easy. Right there is on the mark, but the armature, because of the magnet positioning, it tends to push it that way. So we have to force it in the housing. It's not gonna fall until we make a little force here. So the bearing goes in the housing, and that could be done by hand because the bearing is actually not that hard to stick in there. It's not pressed, strongly pressed. But this is it so far, so you guys have an idea. I gotta put the bolts in and have them ready, but I still gotta do the front part. And I got all 4 cables already here, ready to be hooked in. Alright, second thing that when mounting it that I would like you to consider is I already have this plate mounted. I secure it with lower washers, upper and locking washers on each, and I already got all the little bolts on. I don't have the cables on, they're loose. What I have secure the back with tape, so it doesn't move out of the housing. And the first thing, in order to adjust this properly, and this requires a lot of adjustment, you only have 3 knots to go down, up, and you can regulate it by going up here. But you got to make sure before you put it finally on that you look closely inside that housing there where it, let me zoom here, and you have to make sure that let me get that when you rotate it, it doesn't rub against the commutator. Let me get it more in. Yeah. See? You gotta make sure. Get the light in there. You gotta make sure that there is a clearance so that it's not gonna rub the brush housing at any position during rotation, because that will ruin your motor. I mean, if that brass housing for the brush, somehow it gets to hit all your wires, it'll ruin the commutator. It could ruin the commutator, so you gotta check that it's free, that it's freely rotating, smooth. Doesn't have the brushes on, that's why it rotates so easy. So, but you gotta make sure there's no noise there and it's free. And if you want to make sure, just bolt the nuts on, the bolts, get the bolts in, give it a little tight, and spin it and inspect it. And this is the position it's supposed to go in. Let me zoom back. So I have it. This is the way the cables are supposed to come from here and from the back, because see right there, that's my back alignment mark right here, and I got it right here. So this is where I'm coming out with the cables on this end and on the back. So just want to make sure we got this clear before we hook the cables and I take it for a spin. Okay, I already got the cables in, and I run them. I first attached them here, but however, if you notice, they're set up in a way that they would not be, could not be obstructing the traveling of the brush. So you try to get them away from where the brush goes. At any point, they could be in touch with the housing because it gets hot and it could damage the insulation. So make sure, you know, the cables run behind the brush area. So when you push it, and keeping the same configuration so you don't get misled here. Okay, bottoms are one input, top is another input, and so on the other side. So keep your wires in. So I got the back with tape and secure there, somewhere in the alignment mark there. I have not run the bolts yet. So yeah, I get the bolts so close here, but you gotta make sure that we know here how our alignment is. I got my 3 bolts here. Give me the opening where this opening be. Okay, so you want to align this in a way that it comes like this, And you can see brushes right here that are supposed to be in alignment with the back brush right here. So later on you align them here, but the pushing is fine as long as it allows you to rotate, and you gotta keep pushing the cables so they do not obstruct. And the cables are number 6. The red ones I have installed, which is more or less the same as the one that comes with the motor. Okay, so you can also have some vice grips here handy, which I don't. So you get it hooked up right on the, and the hole is somewhere in here. So we gotta turn it, and we gotta move cables are so it allows us to turn. I know I'm doing it this hard because of the camera. I don't want to hit the camera on my elbow, and I don't have a way of turning it. Once that you get it one bolt in, it's all locked. Okay, the cables are sticking out, so they're rubbing against well, we got the hole right here, and we got a bolt right here. Then I get some vice grip here. Okay, and no sweat. Okay, so got them in place. Hope I didn't get the bolt hole. Yeah, let me go in here. This is steel, so nothing is going to happen. So you know, right there, I got it, and just gonna make a couple of turns only. So it doesn't, we don't lose it off position. Okay, and it's there. Then we get the other bolt in. And we have to turn the motor this way, so we see our bolt here. Get the vice grips, lock them in place. And okay, we got it. So right now it's just a matter of adjustment on that the brushes are aligned, and then we run a test on it. So, and these bolts go tight, I mean real tight, and we got it now. We gotta check that the cables are not rubbing here, and I had to expand this this piece right here so it goes in. The one that it comes in is smaller, so I'd rather do that than transform the. So we got it all perfect there. So now what we could do is check for alignment, and then once we do check that, we have to come here and make sure that we got a perfect alignment when we go square with this side of the. So an angle ruler will be perfect here, just to measure and at least a couple of points that we are in alignment. Still is not, but that was the front end mounting. It's not a piece of cake. As you can see, cables are, you gotta find the best way of doing it so that your cables come out, in a way that, and then we have to put these little grommets that I mentioned before, that they go in, and then you're gonna have to use some strap or something like that to get them in here, like this. So, and they will go in there, high pressure, and then we just get some wire straps and hook them together so they won't be moving the brushes. That's what we don't want. So, but we gotta keep them in pairs, and this is our pair right here, and the second one is our other pair. Okay, here I got a 36 volt LiPo. They're pretty sharp, and the way I have hooked it up is the input I have hooked it the same way they come from factory, meaning the two black together and the two red together, and I'm gonna be injecting power here. However, the output I have installed it in series by joining a black, the red with the black, positive with negative. From here, this is the positive, and it goes to the negative at the bottom, and then I'm reading from here, which is the bottom, and I'll make a diagram on this, and I'm reading the outer two terminals, positive right here and negative right there. So I got 2 meters connected, and the one on the left is reading batteries, and the other one is reading straight positive. I mean a straight output. No, just the two brushes on the output side. None, it's not adding the battery power though. It's not jump. So you understand. So I'm just gonna be hooking it, and you guys see the instant reading on the battery meter, as of also on the output meter, and check the performance on this. At 5,081 RPMs. See that is the outer coming out. You saw that spark on this side here. That's the coming out from the spark, from the charging on the coils.